Keep listening for Wellness Wednesday, proudly brought to you by Vitality Unlimited for all your complete behavioral health needs. Thanks for joining us for today's edition of Wellness Wednesday, brought to you by Vitality Integrated Program Services, the VIPs in our community, for complete behavioral health. Among the most important components of wraparound services delivered by the VIPs would be the physical aspect of a client or a consumer's condition. And that's where Carla Farnworth comes into play. Carla is a nurse practitioner. And Carla, thank you for joining us today. And maybe you wouldn't mind just talking a little bit about yourself and what you bring to the Vitality experience.
Well, sure. So I've been a nurse practitioner since 2006, and I initially did a dual certification program with acute care and family practice. And then a few years ago, I decided to get my psychiatric nurse practitioner certification. And so I can offer mostly the family practice and the psych piece of it. The acute care is more hospital setting. So for Vitality, most of what I do is psychiatric related medicine.
And Carla, with the new technology that's available, you're able to administer these types of services to various parts of the state?
Yes, I cover in person. I cover the Reno outpatient office and the Carson City outpatient office. And then for Elko, I do their outpatient office and their residential program via telemed. We use a Zoom platform and we have software obviously for charting, but it's very nice because I can see a lot of people in one day in different parts of the state.
And a lot of people are used to this technology, obviously, after going through this global pandemic. So I imagine it's a pretty successful outreach.
Yes, it works really well.
So if you're interested, contact the VIPs in Elko, 775-777-VIPS. That's 777-8477. Vitality Integrated Programs, Complete Behavioral Health. When we come back, we'll talk more with Carla about how the services are beneficial to the consumers around the state when Wellness Wednesday continues. Thank you for listening to Wellness Wednesday as we're talking with Carla Farnworth. She is a nurse practitioner with Vitality Integrated Program Services for complete behavioral health. And Carla, we were talking in the last break about, why it's important that we establish a physical baseline when someone's also trying to determine the status of their mental health. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Things from a physical standpoint can definitely affect mental health. Thyroid issues, diabetes, any hormonal things can definitely affect mental health and chronic pain as well. And that's where we see some of where the addiction comes from. But when we address these things and the mental health, we treat the whole person.
And you're part of treating the whole person, Carla, because something that Vitality Integrated Program Services emphasizes is the wraparound service. So people don't have to go place to place to place and get testing here and there. They tend to fall through the cracks and get discouraged, right?
Oh, absolutely. And especially in Elko because it's rural up there and then finding specialists and that kind of care can be difficult. So we provide primary care, psych, addiction medicine, specialist things we can refer out. But yes, we do provide a holistic approach to our patients.
Well, Carla, thank you. And obviously you have been able to describe these services as beneficial. You've probably seen some success.
Oh, absolutely. I have several patients that are in the residential drug and alcohol treatment program that have continued on with me in an outpatient setting and have really started to thrive in their lives.
When we come back, as we're talking with Carla Farnworth, a nurse practitioner from VIPs here in Elko, we'll find out more about how you could access these services in our community, the variety of ages of people, too, when Wellness Wednesday continues. If you're interested in VIPs programs here in Elko, 775-777-VIPs. That's 775-777-8477. Thank you for listening to Wellness Wednesday as we're talking with Carla Farnworth today. She is a nurse practitioner, a very important part of the professional services administered by the VIPs in our community for complete behavioral health. For those of you wondering about how important it is to get a nurse involved in your care, Carla, maybe tell us about the different kinds of ages of people that you see and their experiences in what you're able to provide.
We see ages 5 up. Our clients can be younger children with perhaps ADHD or behavioral issues, all the way up into the elderly, depressed patient, or just really wellness care, including referring for colonoscopies, mammograms, that kind of thing.
Oh, you can do that then, obviously.
Yes.
That's really important to know. So if someone is being seen here in Elko with the VIPs, and then they can literally hop on a telehealth visit with you, Carla?
Yes, I prefer to see people in person, of course. We do have a physician in the office in Elko that can see people in person, but for some people, the telemed just works a lot better. And we actually have equipment in the office that's specifically for telehealth, where I can have the medical assistant put a stethoscope on someone's back and I can hear it through the computer so I can assess their lungs, things like that. So it's really exciting.
Well, Carla, thank you. Obviously, an important part of the services administered through VIPs in our community, 775-777-VIPS. That's 777-8477. Carla, I know we appreciate the time that you've taken today. In fact, you're going to be hopping on and talking with a client here shortly using your telehealth. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, listeners, for joining us for today's Wellness Wednesday segment. It's brought to you by Vitality Integrated Program Services for Complete Behavioral Health. We're continuing our discussion with Carla Farnworth, who is a nurse practitioner with the service. And Carla, we did want to add that especially during this now 2-year mark for a global pandemic, we have seen impacts, especially on our younger population. Could you maybe speak to how the VIPs are helping them?
Yes, we have therapists, peer support people, myself, a physician, and usually we can get people in really quickly. I do feel like with COVID, with the isolation, quarantine, masks, that especially our school-age kids are suffering from that. They need the socialization of being in school, and they're not getting that as much. And so we are helping them through counseling, and I'm seeing them for, ADHD, depression, anxiety, that kind of thing.
Well, Carla, thank you. Are there any kind of warning signs or anything that parents or caregivers can look for in particular that might signal it's time to talk to a counselor?
Yes, I always ask about sleep. How are they sleeping? And of course, with kids these days, we have to make sure they're not on their devices late into the night, but sleeplessness can be a sign of anxiety and depression, and really ADHD as well. And so I'll ask about sleep. I ask about their grades. How are their grades in school? How's the attendance in school? Their relationships with their friends? Those kind of questions usually get them talking.
Well, Carla, that sounds like great advice. We sure appreciate, again, your taking the time. Carla Farnworth is a nurse practitioner with the VIPs in our community, 775-777-VIPS. That's 777-8477. And you might just get to meet Carla Farnworth in a telehealth session from here in the Elko area. Carla, thank you again for being part of this great team that provides wraparound services, helping clients, consumers, families throughout the region.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Wednesday, only on today's 95.9 and the original AM 1240 KELK. We invite your calls, comments, or suggestions to address topics you're concerned about in our community or your family. Wellness Wednesday radio program airs each Wednesday at 11 a.m. and again at 3 p.m. Brought to you by Vitality Unlimited, VIPs for all your complete behavioral health needs.